Hello, everybody. We're back, and we do have the 13th World Chess Champion, Garry Kasparov, with us. He is our guest today. We're going to be asking him a lot of questions from you guys, the fans, about what he's been up to, his thoughts on chess in general, and, of course, his very latest new business venture. So, Garry, first of all, it's great to have you here. How are you doing today?
I'm doing fine. It's a great summer outside in New York City, and thank you very much. Always wanted to join you on your phenomenal show.
So I guess let's just dive in right away. I'll start with just some questions from the top, specifically regarding Twitch and the internet boom that has occurred over the last year. So viewers are curious to see what you think of the boom. It started during the pandemic, of course, early last year in 2020, and then Queen's Gambit. What are your thoughts on the whole boom? Is it something that you think we needed a pandemic in order for chess to boom like this on the internet, or it would have occurred anyway? What are your thoughts?
No, I think the over the last couple of decades, we were observing the gradual increase of popularity of the game of chess. Naturally, nobody can deny it. Pandemics enhanced all internet activities, and chess benefited because chess. It's not just that chess suddenly got more attention because of the game, but we lost a lot of competition. So because many of the other sports that are typically more popular, they are just they're losing their traction, basketball or tennis or football or baseball, if they're not played live. So that's you cannot do it online. Chess online, okay, it's some people say no, it's not exactly the same. Yeah, we would like to go back to normal chess, but still. For millions and millions and millions of chess fans, being online, just it's not a problem at all. And that's why the balance during the pandemics was very much in chess favor. Then we also had the effect of the Queen's Gambit. Again, pandemics helped Queen's Gambit, but because people looked for some positive characters, and chess all of a sudden demonstrated its positive virtues. Contrary to the popular myth that chess could be dangerous for mental stability, and whole stories, from Bobby Fischer to great books like Illusion Defense or chess novel of Stefan Zweig, chess helped Beth Harmon to overcome her dependence on drugs and alcohol. So taking account all these facts, when we should not be surprised that chess image now is running very high. I do events all the time, and I can tell you there's not a single podcast, there's not a single interview, whether it's cybersecurity, geopolitics, AI, without being asked about the Queen's Gambit. So and I think it's great for the game of chess, and no doubt this kind of hysteria, probably will fizzle out, but I think some of the gains will stay with us, and I think what's most important, the reputation of the game has been dramatically improved, and that's what help us to recruit more chess fans, and also more acolytes. More kids will join the game, and what's even it's also very, very important that we'll see more girls joining the game. So I think there's the gender disbalance that traditionally hurt the image of the game. So it will also be history.
Right. I was kind of curious. I mean, first things, yeah, certainly when you look at the gender gap, there are a lot more males to females. I think with Queen's Gambit, a lot of the sites were saying that they had seen increase in their users from females. It was something like 1-2% up to like 4 or 5%. So it's certainly very good. Additionally, like in regards to new entertainment, so I'm not sure how familiar you are with what has happened on Twitch, but I'll just ask you this question first. Have you watched chess streams on Twitch? Have you watched any channels on Twitch, really, or is this your first foray into it?
No, actually, it's my first foray on it. So again, I saw a lot of comments because I'm on Twitter, so that's why I'm probably by modern standards I'm old-fashioned.
Uh-huh.
Yes, I made myself comfortable on Twitter. Yeah, also Facebook, but Twitter is just the main tool to promote my agenda, whether it's political or chess. So I find it's very convenient to communicate with massive audience. I have about 640,000 followers on Twitter. So that's my core audience. But I believe that I have to keep learning, and I think it's very important that we'll use the advantage of the game of chess that that has been invented 1500 years ago or so, but it's feels very modern because it can easily adjust to new technologies. I think that's this kind of flexibility and an ability to adapt that makes our game, if not a favorite of many internet games, but definitely, one of the top choices.
Right. So on that note, so one of the things that has happened on Twitch is there's been this event called PogChamps, where you have very big streamers, influencers who take part in an event. They play each other. It's basically a knockout event, and I think that's really helped a lot with bringing people in. Do you think that that's necessarily good for chess? Overall, do you think perhaps it takes away from the professional side of things? Do you think that's good or bad?
Look, I think it's impossible to give you one answer, good or bad. I think if you look at the balance, it's good. The balance is positive because more people joining the game. Some say, but it's almost insulting for the integrity of the game. The game is just, it was always considered to be a nexus of human intelligence and creativity. And look what's happening. You know what? When I first time played with Nigel Short in 1987, back in 1987. So yeah, you're born, yes?
Yeah, long time ago.
Long time ago. We played a rapid chess. It was the first rapid chess match, televised match in London in February 1987. So by the way, because of television, so we played 25 minutes each because it was 1 hour program. So they needed time for advertising. So that's what people often ask, why it's 25 minutes. So the original format was, yes, it's because of the TV demand. And we played this match, and this was in a posh London club. We played in tuxedos, black and white. So this is the scene was, the stage was going up and down. It's great. We from there, we flew to Brussels for the meeting of Grandmaster Association, and many of my colleagues said, that's not good. That's very dangerous for the image of the game. That could actually jeopardize, the integrity of the game, and it will not be well received. Back in 1987. So it's and since then, we had so many things that people say, that's not going to work for chess. But chess is still there, and more people joining. And I think that we should just recognize that the ability to adapt is what makes the game so popular. That's we can go back to Darwin. That's this. Many people just I think they don't recognize that that's the key of Darwin theory is adaptation. So it's not the strongest species that can survive, not the smartest, but the most capable to adapt. So right. The ability of the game of chess to adapt and to include new elements that are so important for new generations and for this global communication that is available today, that's what makes me quite optimistic about the future. Yes, of course, we would like to preserve, the classical chess. We would like to have the real life chess, but consider it's like an opera. Classical opera is what, few % of the music worldwide. It's being preserved. But the rest is not opera. So and it's very important that you find a way to combine these things. And I believe that the answer to your question again, it's not not unequivocal yes, but it's yes on the balance. Yeah, because also when you look at the connection between the chess audience and top players. So when I played Karpov, it was almost like the game played in a temple, and you had grandmasters like the high priests making comments for the worshippers who had no voice at all, and even when we made mistakes, sometimes quite bad mistakes. Yeah, I know that they try to undermine and say, I'm not so sure. Yes, maybe we don't see something. So good, yes, huge prestige. But now it's the opposite. People can look at the screen. They don't need you and me telling them that Magnus Carlsen made a blunder. They can see it. Right. Somehow, I feel annoyed when you see this bunch of nobodies, laughing at Magnus or at you, for instance. But then I say, wait a second. But that's as much as as I protest, being still your former colleague and then someone who feels strongly about the game being played at such a high level and the pressure on your shoulders and mistakes that are inevitable. But at the same time, I believe it helps us to bring millions of people in because they can follow the game. We don't have the same problem. Oh, how can we explain this move? you don't have to explain. They look at the computer. They look at the screen. So again, I think the balance of chess merging with modern technology as with the new communication tools, the balance is definitely in our favor.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. On that note, I had a question, and this is just a general chess question. I'll get to a lot of others, but what do you think? Do you think it's better for commentators when they do commentary to have the bar showing or not showing? Because of course, if you have the bar showing, Magnus makes a huge blunder. It goes from say +1 for him to -5 or something like that. Do you think it's good for commentators to use computer engines and have that evaluation bar showing, or not in general, separate of the audience? Just do you think it's best to do that, or it's better for us as commentators to think on our own and try to present our own ideas?
Look, again, that's not an easy question to answer. I would prefer not to have a computer because then you can see, you can hear the real opinion of the commentators. At the same time, you will have kind of the gap between the real, moves, what's happening on the board, the lines that every amateur can see on his or her screen, and the opinion of the commentators. Again, maybe you should look for a hybrid. Maybe again, it's just you can go back and forth. Yeah, maybe you should do 2 parallel screens. I don't know, but personally, I would always, like to just to hear the old traditional commentary. Maybe because of my age, I don't know, but somehow I think it's very important for people to actually hear, from professionals, what is really happening on the board. It's not just, queen c4, rook d5 or whatever, but it's just why queen goes on c4. So this is just translating it from the computer language into human language. So I think that this is many people are just, they are very hungry just to things to be explained. Yes, I have my screen. I see the machine says, long line, and what is winning? Can you slow down? Can you actually tell me, why it's that, to bring it back to the level where I, can understand it. So that's another trick. It's how to find the balance. But I think what is very important, and we can see it time and again, whether it's in the Queen's Gambit, whether it's in the commentaries, whether it's on the platforms. People, they would love to have contact. It's about interactivity. It's about their ability to translate these messages into the normal language and make the game of chess, part of our life. It's not just about routine, but it's about persons. It's about personalities in the game. And I think that's why, again, I would see more benefits in having, at least for part of the game, the commentators talking to the public without using Silicon Friend.
Just continuing on that topic a little bit, with Kasparovchess, your Kasparovchess Foundation, I know that you, a couple times a year, I think you have some of the top junior players from America come in for a camp. And I was kind of curious, after what you said about sort of the evaluations and using computers, do you see that a lot of kids, do you think there's anything lacking in terms of like understanding, like because they rely so heavily on computers versus say when you were growing up and computers didn't exist?
Oh, absolutely. By the way, for the last couple of years, we expanded our to Europe as well. So that's why we have more sessions now. Traditionally, 2 in America, 1 in New York, 1 in St. Louis. Though during the pandemics, it's all moved online. We'll have another session here. Here, I said in New York. It's online in May, but hopefully we'll return to normalcy in St. Louis this fall. But we added 1 European segment and also 1 Russian-speaking segment. So that's why, again, we try to bring more kids into the program. But of course, our main focus is the United States. So we started this program all back in 2005. Wow. And I think up to now, if you look at all kids, that many of them are just like Danny Narodnitsky now already. They are, they're adults. So who went through the program? I think we had 16, maybe not now 17 grandmasters already, just those who qualified, and we have more talents coming in. So we're very happy with the flow of the talent, and it's not surprising that United States is a dominant force in the junior chess today. Just look at the results of the last online FIDE championship with all categories from 10 to 18, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18. United States ended up with 8 gold medals. 8 medals, 4 gold medals and 4 other medals. And to compare, Russia and India got 4 medals each.
Wow.
So it's just it tells you about the results that's when you produce an opportunity, when you have sponsors, when you have an infrastructure, so it all works. And one of the problems, and you pointed out, is that I've discovered ages ago, but now you could see it's always progressing. All these kids, this is new generation of chess genius, they have great dependence on the computer, on the screen, because they used to learn from the screen. It's they at age 12 today they know more than Bobby Fischer learned through his entire life. Yeah, but the way they learn it, makes them very dependent on computer lines, and that's why one of the very important elements of our preparation, of our work with these young stars, is to actually help them to take a deep breath and disassociate from the computer. I always said that was one of the greatest strengths of Magnus, who always could actually look at the screen when we worked with him, and still had his own thoughts, not to follow the line. So for him it was more like a calculator. I'm not sure now, but in 2009, 2010, when I worked with him, I knew that made him so special. And then I still believe he has this capability of dragging him out of this machine spell and coming up with own ideas and then checking it with the computer. This is very important, that you can just they take a step back and think for your own. Because often I hear, here is the commentary, here's the game, I made a mistake. He or she is presenting the game and telling me, and I say, great. And so why you think it's a bad move? Oh, because machine said so. Wait. But can you tell me? And sometimes this question, is met with, they're stunning at me. And it's just an empty gaze. What do you mean why? Because machine said so. So it's again going back from the machine's language into these normal human communication. Sometimes it's quite challenging. But that's what I think is very important, and that's what we're trying to make sure that our kids, they have this ability to think on their own.
Right. So again, and another question I think a lot of people are curious about is, do you keep up then with sort of, the latest engines, what Stockfish has done, of course, AlphaZero, Leland, all this sort of stuff. Do you keep up with it? Do you look at some of those games, or do you just not pay attention at all?
Oh, no. I don't want to say that, I follow in every development. So just I'm sticking to Stockfish. I'm just, old-fashioned. So, but as for AlphaZero, so I followed it very closely from the very beginning, because I think that's what's happened with AlphaZero was quite revolutionary. And while you can still argue about the matches that AlphaZero played against Stockfish, but it was very important that Demis Hassabis team managed to introduce the AlphaZero concept into chess. So it's if we have time, I can just give a very quick story of the AlphaZero development, because it's people often, when I do my presentations on AI, people always say, oh, AlphaZero played Go, and they just it's kind of a mix in their minds, because they just heard names and not sure. And actually, it started with Demis Hassabis team taking challenge of Go, because we all knew that Go would be much more difficult to crack than the game of chess. And again, when I say crack, it doesn't mean that machine could actually solve the game. Many people make this mistake, saying, oh, machine could just calculate everything. And it's impossible, because the game of chess, according to Claude Shannon, is mathematically infinite. The number of legal moves is 10 to the 46 power. So that's a pretty big number. Just probably any computer will spend time until the end of the universe, so calculating it. But it's not about solving the game. It's about making fewer mistakes. That's something that just many of us didn't understand, because at the end of the day, machine will make fewer mistakes. It's just it's more resilient, it's more stable. The fact is that today, all chess engines, they are 500-600 points stronger than Magnus Carlsen. It's not because they understand chess better, simply they don't make the same number of mistakes. So we can say they have steady hand, if we can say that. Yeah,
that's one way of putting it, but yeah.
Yeah. So Go is more difficult mathematically. So there's certain concepts that was many thought would be hard, if not possible at all, for machine to understand. So the AlphaGo played the top Go players and won those matches against two top players, including world champion. And some of the games, they were quite a surprise because it introduced new concepts that people even didn't think of, and I looked at the game. I know the rules of the Go, but I just couldn't judge, of course, the quality of the games. But I said, look, I said to Demis, so how about moving forward, trying this to, because it's a new concept, but in Go, it's the game is more complicated, so that's why you can have actually new ideas. It's more likely than the game of chess. So our game is just more developed. It's like Go today is probably as chess a couple of hundred years ago. So they just, they thought about testing it by coming up with AlphaZero. That's the beginning of AlphaZero. AlphaZero was a program that, knew only the rules of the Go. And then it took, I don't know, hours and hours and playing millions of games against itself, learning. And eventually they had AlphaZero Go playing against AlphaGo. So AlphaZero, just rules, no human knowledge, no human prejudices, versus AlphaGo program. The score was 100-0.
Right.
Yeah. AlphaZero destroyed AlphaGo, and that was quite shocking, because we suddenly discovered that the human knowledge that we're so proud of might be a liability. And then then I put a challenge for Demis. I said, look, how about doing this for chess? Again, in chess, it's more developed. So do you think that your AlphaZero mechanism, algorithm,
neural
in chess,
mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly, could have the same effect as Go? Because I doubt very much. So again, the game is well developed, and they did it. So they developed it, and the fact is that AlphaZero dominated in a match against Stockfish was a proof that some of our knowledge is probably not an asset, but more of a liability. But what was the most important, that is, all of a sudden the AlphaZero played aggressive chess, contrary to our expectations, because the conventional wisdom was, you have more and more powerful computers and the games will be duller and duller. There will be not 50 moves in average, but 60, 70, 80, 100. Some of the computer games, that's when you have Stockfish playing, the junior or just, or other programmers. It's Houdini. They could go forever, because machines, don't make blunders, and if positions close, it's you can lose interest,
Right.
But AlphaZero played aggressively, sacrificing material, and it didn't. When I say sacrifice, it's probably the wrong word, because sacrifice means you don't know the outcome. You sacrifice. It's for AlphaZero, it was an exchange, but it sacrificed the material using human language. It gave up material for other advantages. And since nobody could suspect that Stockfish was not running on a powerful machine to actually calculate, so it's very important that the new patterns created by AlphaZero, and it played 60 million games or so against itself. So the new patterns that it could identify, they actually, they were more aggressive than we expected. So they more disbalanced. Obviously, it was an apple in my eye, because I just, I was so pleased to see that, the future of chess is not necessarily, the trench war, but it could be, it could be kind of a blitzkrieg. So, and it's again, and now what's interesting is that the knowledge that have been accumulated throughout this AlphaZero experiments, now it extended. They also moved, of course, to video games, the StarCraft, the Dota. So, but now they are just working on protein. That's what is important. Why these games are so relevant, because you can actually test things, and then to apply the algorithms and the knowledge that you accumulated into something that could have potentially dramatic impact for the future of humanity.
Right. I have to say, though, I'm sure that you must have loved seeing those Queen's Indian games with the pawn side with d5 and knight h4, considering your game from
that was amazing. And it's not just once. It's just it's a sacrifice, and it's all of a sudden you have a position that intuitively I would say, yeah, that's great, but how machine could actually feel intuitively with being a pawn down, sometimes even a piece down. So, and again, it's there's no forced win because the stockfish could see something bad that might happen in 3-4 moves. Now it means that in the visible horizon for a computer. So it was not, it's an immediate win, but there were some other factors. So that's interesting. So in my book, How Life Imitates Chess. So I had a chapter called Material, Time, and Quality. So explaining that's how decisions are made by bringing together these elements. And I said that the quality is the most difficult one because you don't know how to measure that because it's how you measure pawns, versus some long-term strategic consequences. How do you measure the king's safety versus the weakness of your of your queen side? Just it's all these factors. They demand from top professional player an intuitive evaluation. And we found out that AlphaZero, was doing a great job by playing this aggressive chess, by ripping off the balance and pushing the game into this unknown territory.
Right. I had a question about playing aggressively, and I'm just curious what your thoughts are. That game, unfortunately, the final one that you lost against Deep Blue in your second match, when it played knight takes e6. At that time, if it had not been programmed into the opening book that Deep Blue had, do you think computers would have been able to find that move at that time or not?
I bet that it wouldn't. So that's you understand. Yeah, I bet that it wouldn't. So it was a very poor choice of the opening, but. And because as we learned from Miguel Lescas, he actually put it in a machine that very morning. So again, it's a great foresight of IBM team. But today, no, I mean for AlphaZero it would be a problem. I think for most of the powerful engines today, it would be a problem because they definitely know they could see that the king safety becomes a factor, and somehow they are less dependent on the material. So it's I'm happy to make this experiment. So but I bet you that most of the programs would go for knight takes e6.
Okay.
That's what I can see by looking at other positions and the games. So machines are just again, I would call them brave, but they no longer have the same fear of losing material.
Right. Yeah, I was kind of curious since obviously AlphaZero changed it. When you see AlphaZero play this move, I mean, everyone talks about now playing h4, h5 almost all the time now. Is there some way that you can sort of conceptualize it or understand it with your knowledge of the game? Because obviously when you grew up with sort of different rules in a sense. Is there some way that you try to internalize that when you look at positions, or you just you try to find some logical reasoning for why it does that?
I have to admit that I never studied very very professionally. So what I can offer as an explanation is that again it's the after playing the 60 million games against itself and creating all these different patterns, and having these different evaluations of typical factors. For instance, it's clear that AlphaZero offers much higher value to the bishop than to a knight. Yes. So, which again, it's natural because so many games being played, and in more positions, bishop is stronger. But it might also lead to potential consequences when machine is making open choices. For instance, like in Sveshnikov. So this is knight on d5 may not look as a real advantage because this black has two bishops. So this is one of the strategic weaknesses of all machines, not only to AlphaZero but any computer of that type. Because they, for them to actually discover some kind of inconsistency or flaw in the evaluation, it will require not 1 or 2, 3 games being lost, but probably 100,000 games. So because it's all about numbers. But still, again, those are just the minor things. We don't have to waste time on that. And I think that the AlphaZero being so consistent in pushing H pawn is that it's because it doesn't have the same human prejudice. Oh, we don't want to push H pawn because whatever. So that's what we're taught. That's what we're taught when we were kids. That's what we learned from the books. It's again, it has it has a better ability to look at the big picture. And in the big picture, yes, H4, H5, somehow compromise your position, but it could bring some benefits by compromising the opponent's position. So it's the AlphaZero is free of our prejudices, and I think that following these games and just learning from them and just learning from them, we can actually understand more about the dynamic of the game. Again, what made me feel good is that this dynamic is not moving into the more strategic, call it Karpov-Kramnik direction, but more just to my Tal direction. So
yeah. So like, and just one last question on this topic. In your book, The Great Predecessors, I think I think it's the introduction, you talk about calcification, basically about world champions at some point, like they stop learning, they stop innovating. And I was kind of curious if you think that down the road, these junior players, these kids who are 10, 11, 12 right now, their understanding of the game, because of being able to, they see these games that AlphaZero plays, the way the computer suggests moves. This is why at some point they'll become world champions, and people like Magnus or the current sort of elite at some point will fall off, is because of the understanding that they'll have of the way computers play or they evaluate. Do you think that's realistic or not?
No, it's eventually Magnus will become ex-world champion because he's aging. So he's only 30, but again, age is not his ally. So it's happening. So with all of us, we go, it's on a timeline, we go in the same direction. So it's with different speed, of course, but and every generation brings something new to the game. So that's definitely the way your generation play chess is different from my generation, or even just from Anand generation, if we look for, or even from Kramnik generation. So that's this probably the players who were born just in the 80s. So they just I'm not really sure. Maybe it's 80s. It's also Grishuk, Aronian, and somehow I feel of them of just being it's the older generation. So probably at the time when I became world champion in 1985. So that was kind of the milestone, and then we're a generation that grew up with computers and had more internet probably already, because was a factor late 90s, beginning of this century, and that's why we saw a different playing style, a different way of preparing for the game. And now we have a generation that just relies on not only just on these databases, but the computers getting more powerful, but also on the communication. It's all instant. So that's and they play a lot online. So it's I could see the downsides, and naturally I can hardly imagine any of them getting close to Magnus, understanding the game. But understanding may not help you when you just when you have the fist fight. So so I do understand the game well, but it just doesn't help because you still have to move the pieces, and that's getting slower. Yeah. So we'll see what happens. For instance, if Magnus one day plays Ferrugia, for instance,
right?
That's the again, this is age-wise. It's the same gap, so 12, 13 years, and styles are quite opposite. So maybe that's another big battle, because when you look at the world champions, it's always kind of a shift. Karpov, Kasparov, Kramnik, Anand, Carlsen. So you see, it's not, you can hardly find a moment where the same style was of play was dominant in the games of two consecutive world champions.
So so then, like, moving on, you were the world champion for nearly 2 decades, and I was kind of curious at the time. Obviously every match was different, but did you stress over like potentially losing a match or losing the title? Did you just feel you were unstoppable? How did you feel in general during with each match, or just across the board throughout your time as a world champion?
Oh, look, I started playing World Championship matches when we had a time control that many of your listeners would not even recall. So we played 2.5 hours for 40 moves, and then the game was adjourned. So that's what I played Karpov. And speaking about the adaptation, continuing this our early discussion, is I remember when we played the second match with Karpov in 1985, and I think Jan Timman and a few other players, Western players, they have been advocating the idea of actually playing not 2.5 hours for 40 moves, but 2 hours for 40 moves, and then 1 hour for 20 moves. Just it's and both Karpov and myself, they were, oh no, that's such a great departure from our traditions. And of course, my great teacher Mikhail Botvinnik was outraged. How can you do this to chess? So the adjourned games, they are just, they are a very important part of our preparation, and 2 hours is too little. So, but again, it was natural because we developed chess theory. So and again, we just could spend less time for the opening moves, and eventually, we reached a point where adjournments were not feasible because of the computers. Even already in 95, 96, that was a factor. And I think Karpov-Kamsky match 96 was the last match played with adjournments. I think so. I'm not sure. It's this. We knew that it was over. So I played with Anand without adjournments in 1995 already.
Right.
So. Yeah, so there were changes, and when I played Karpov, so I definitely know that I had to survive my first match, but from the second match onward, I always believed I would win, and again the matches were all traditional, 24 games, also very slow motion. When you look at the calendar, 3 games a week. It's the one rest day. Each side has 3 timeouts. So when you look at the whole match, it's 24 games. That's already you have 8 weeks for 24 games. Plus you have 3 timeouts for each side. So that's adding 2 more weeks. So 10 weeks.
Wow.
That's pretty long match. And then you take into account time that you arrive. Just the preparation. So it's nearly 3 months, of your life, not counting the pre-match preparation. I'm talking about, when you just fly to New York when you played on Lyon or Sevilla or other places. Then, after I won the last match against Karpov in 1990, that was the beginning of kind of a new era. And then my next match was against Nigel Short, and then next against Vishy Anand. Those were very different matches already. More, it's more dynamic, just because the schedule was different. We had the different time control, and that's and then there was the break because I just couldn't put together a World Championship match. So it was conflict was FIDE, and it ended up with my World Championship. History ended with my match against Kramnik. It was a disastrous match, and one of the reasons I think that's though I don't think I was an inferior player in 2000. I think I still had enough potential to go back and beat him. We played in 2001. We played a series of classical rapid and blitz, and I won eventually blitz segment. And since our match in 2000, we played many games. I won one. In Berlin Wall, ironically, and not lost a single one. Right. So I still had the potential to stay on top, but I didn't find the right algorithm for preparation, because we already had computers, and I thought that I could do more with computers, and I just I lost my flexibility. Didn't feel that I needed to make big changes before the match in my opening repertoire, and during the match I still could shift away from Berlin, just recognizing that it was not the right time to stick to my principles. So as I said, I was well prepared on 90% of the territory. Kramnik probably had a smaller territory, but the entire match took place on this remaining 10%. Right. So that's again tells you about your flexibility and also your appetite to innovate and just to improve. I made some felt improvements after the match. So actually I learned and came back, and that's why I still had 2 more years of total dominance. From since I played Kramnik. So I played well 2001 and played well in the beginning of 2002. And then I have to say that I was I was losing interest because it's not just about winning or losing. It's just also about your ability to make difference. And when I realized that the World Championship match would not be a feasible opportunity, since Kramnik had no interest of playing rematch. FIDE had this match with Ponomaryov, if you remember, all these arrangements, and then they had Gasimjanov. But it seemed to me that in the world of chess, there was a very powerful trend of it was a headwind. Nobody wanted me to come back, so I was there. I was at the top for too long. So
okay. Mm-hmm.
And also I felt that it was time to look elsewhere. So that's why.
Do you think that you quit too soon or not? Looking back,
I think right now I think it was perfect moment. So I did that was one of the best moves. I just knew that was a time to actually go. I already sensed it, when I just finished my Russian championship in December 2004. So I had my son, who was 8 years old, and just he got my medals, just across, so put it around his neck, and I already knew that's it. Just time to go. I still had to play one more Linares. I had a signed contract, but it's just like every sign on the wall told me that time to go, do something else. I knew I would not quit chess completely. I would still be doing chess with Kasparovchess Foundation, playing exhibitions, but I didn't feel that I was able to actually give myself to the game, because you have to be 100% devoted when you play, and I knew that it was time to go.
Mm-hmm. Right. So then that leads me to the next question. So what are you up to? What have you been doing? Because do you still play chess on the internet? You played some of these St. Louis events obviously last year, but are you like playing chess? What are you doing these days?
Oh yeah, look, playing chess is just it's a passion that never goes away. So as I said, I only play chess in St. Louis. So though I may so have an exception this year, because there's one of the Grand Chess Tour events is in Zagreb, and as a Croatian citizen, probably I will play a few Blitz games there. And in online, yes, I just it's moving pieces is always nice. So I have to make sure that my ability to move pieces with a mouse is a good match to young players. It's fun. So I don't have any big expectations from my play, but I know that people are still happy to see me moving the pieces. So that's why I'm always I'm willing to share my knowledge and what else, and my ability to entertain the crowd. So definitely on Kasparovchess, so you will see more of me on just on both communicating with people, answering the questions, interacting and playing.
So what's the reasoning behind starting this new site, or bring it back, I guess, in a way, Kasparovchess? What differentiates it? What are you really excited about with the new site?
Look, somehow it started accidentally. It's just because in 2015, when we had a Grand Chess Tour event in London, Maxime Vachelegraph, that was he was on the rise, and the French sponsors wanted to bring event in Paris. That's how we had events in Paris and met Vivendi, and they also got excited. They liked the game, and some of the top managers were Vivendi. They're big chess fans, and that was the beginning of the conversation. So how about doing chess out beyond just one Grand Prix event in Paris? It took a few years. Vivendi is a big company, and just everything is slow. But I thought that maybe that would be a good idea. It's about bringing back my legacy. So the original Kasparovchess couldn't survive. The internet boom was over. Technology was not there, and our plans were too ambitious probably for the technological advances available in the beginning of the century, in 2000, 2001. Yeah, and also this is too much. Probably was betting on my title, and since I lost to Kramnik, obviously it lost attraction to potential sponsors. Now it's again no illusion, so we understand it's not about me being world champion, but it's about legacy, and it's about products, that is the right type of products that we can offer to the potential customers. Naturally, it's not, the field is more crowded, so you have so many, different chess channels, and of course among them two giants, chess.com and Magnus Chess24. But I think that's, I thought about it, and that's what we discussed with Wendy. We would be in position to bring something different, and actually the pandemics that would slow down our the launch of our project. So for almost a year, that's at least for a year. But it also helped to sort of fix certain things, and just to make these products like entertainment and the good high quality videos and lessons more adaptable to the expectation of the crowd, because a lot of people that are just moving in because of pandemics and the Queen's Gambit.
Right. So I mean, like just to talk about the site then a little bit, you are planning to do you're planning to do a masterclass on it, right? Like that's your plan?
Absolutely. That's something that had to be ready earlier, because I was scheduled to be in Paris March last year and to do full recording 1 week there. But again, just we had to postpone it. So I'm going to have a full recordings in Paris in mid-June. And this masterclass will be different from our original masterclass. So I know it was a big success, but I still think that there's tons of opportunities to improve. So plenty of room to make it even more successful. So one of the things that I'm planning to incorporate is just to divide it in 3 segments. So just have the beginners and the advanced players and the club players. And also that's one of the important features of our site. We have 8 different categories there, from the beginners to masters. So just from 1,000 to 2,200, to make sure that people will always will always navigate on the site, and they will have the maximum interest and effect of being there, irrespective of their playing strengths and experience. My masterclass will be kind of just it's a top premium product, but we have nearly 800 already lessons, and then as we speak being recorded by some top players, for instance from MVL, Anish Giri, Livona Ronian, that's we have many female players. So that's the Elizabeth Petz, Mira Skripchenko. So we think that this is a very important component. So that's where we believe we can offer a better quality than the competitors. So you can still have, as always happens in freemium model, you still have access to free lessons. So you have 8 lessons and 20 puzzles. That's for free. So that's on a daily basis. But if you sign, so you will have access to the whole site, and we'll keep adding lessons, and they are done for very high quality. And what's also important, we will make sure that the site is truly interactive. So whatever you want to see, so there will be kind of hotline, so just to help us to fix the bugs, but also to have the products, to have the menu that will be the most interesting for the potential customers. And as I said, I'm spending at least 5 hours every month. I guess it will be more online, just to talk to our base, and to have these kind of conversations, because I think interactivity is very important, and people want to hear stories. People want to see the personalities, and that's what we will offer in the highest possible quality. Of course, there will be playing zone as well, but this is playing zones. They just exist everywhere, and I don't think you can make that's the big difference by having the most sophisticated playing zone. Though you need a high quality and you need tournaments. Everything will be added, element by element. But our strengths will be interactivity, community, entertainment, lessons, and direct communications to our base.
Right. So since I have the site open now, I think a lot of people can kind of see the site. I was kind of curious. There are a lot of videos that are showing up from Anish Giri, and so when I see something like that with the pandemic and what has happened, I was kind of curious, when were these lessons sort of recorded by these various chess players? Like, it really does seem like it's been a very long-term project in the making.
Oh, absolutely. No. This is again. I said we thought we could start even a year earlier. So that's why some of these lessons have been recorded 2 years ago. But because of the pandemic, so we just we decided that we can just we can expand. So that's why many of these lessons have been recorded recently, and they, as we speak, they're being recorded. So that's what we think. Just it's has the best impact. And even now, though, the audience on the site is limited. So as we already receiving comments, we're receiving the feedback from our viewers, from our customers, and they love it. So that's they just they don't have the analogs, the same kind of products elsewhere. So that's why we believe that we will keep pushing this forward.
Yeah,
and by the way, this is since that's the big audience now following us. So guys, we are offering a special program now for those who will sign up. I will be first online to sign. So I have a few hundred of my books available in at least 15 languages. Probably more. I didn't even count. So that's why if you are just if you are first online and just you want the book in Japanese or in Korean or just in Hungarian or Finnish. So, and of course many more available in English. So that's why there will be a special announcement that's about the first come, first serve, and I will personally sign the books, and they will be sent to your address. So that's why, again, just make sure that as you're hearing this, you are also becoming a subscriber of Kasparovchess.
What are your thoughts on the upcoming World Championship match between Jan Nepomniachtchi and Magnus Carlsen? Do you think Magnus is a big favorite? Do you think it's a close match? What are your thoughts?
No, I think Magnus is favorite, and I would say he would be favorite against any other opponent in this cycle. But World Championship match is a World Championship match. So and while Magnus is still a dominant force, we know that his last two matches were not most convincing. So it's the Nepomniachtchi is probably it would be easier opponent for Magnus. Again, it's more like psychology and style, because you never know. So what happens in the match? So I would say that Caruana or Giri could be more of a problem for Magnus in terms of preparation. But it's again favorite not favorite. So I would probably still give Magnus 6-4. So there's a 60-40.
Only 60-40, you would say.
Yes, because it's a World Championship match. But yeah, but 60-40 is pretty good odds. So it's the the only difference. That's the reason I say it's not more is because unlike his match with Caruana, Magnus does not have the same advantage in rapid. So that's why if he's Caruana, he could be satisfied with 6-6, and we saw that in the last game of the match. He had a big advantage with black, and just all he wanted is just to make a draw and just to go to the rapid, and he crushed Fabiano in rapid chess. With Nepomniachtchi, I don't think that Magnus can afford being so complacent with his
So actually, Gary, I did finally get it up. So give me 1 second while I adjust the cameras back.
Bishop c7, king f1, bishop b6, bishop f2, king h2, and then we just if we go there, I'm just trying to figure it out. So we start going by just like a stair. So bishop c7, king f1, bishop b6, bishop f4, king h2, king e2, king g2, bishop s3, king g3, king d3, king f3, bishop d4.
Okay, so I'm gonna. So you're sure it's bishop c7, right?
No, I'm not. There are two. Actually, there are two. One is just. I think it's bishop c7, but I'm trying to see if there's anything makes sense. Does it make sense for us to go bishop b8, king f1, bishop c7? Then he goes bishop e. Yes, bishop b8, king f1, bishop c7. Then bishop, but I doubt very much. No, I think we go with bishop c7. So that's
Okay.
my. I don't see this. I don't see any king on f2.
Wait. What's it? Oh, what's it? Wait, this.
No, the king on f2 in original position. King on f2.
Or wait, no,
You just-
king's.
you just-
Oh yeah. Here, so it's
yes,
so it's white's move. You're saying so bishop c7.
Yes.
Okay.
King of 1, bishop b6. Yes, now.
Mhm.
Bishop now. We don't have much of king h2. So that's what I said. That we do the king g2. Yes. We do king d3. So we do the king d3, king f3, bishop d4, king f4. So that's stairs. King c4, king f4, bishop c5. Wait, now that's the
Bishop takes c5 is winning.
No. I said bishop c5, black bishop. No, of course we don't take this.
Yeah, you move the king.
Wait. Okay, king e5. So that's I see no reason in before. So
Yeah, it's king
so
d5, isn't it? You just run the king in.
King d5. Yes, king d5. You should go bishop f8 or.
Oh, it said solve. Oh, it said solve because it didn't go on further.
That's I was looking for something. That's very.
Yeah,
very
I'll
tricky.
just show it
So
for the audience because they're probably wondering.
Yeah, it's very.
Yeah, it's that you run the king to
As I
b7
said,
and
that's
take.
the
Yeah.
step. Yeah, exactly. So bishop of 8, king. You go king c6, king a4, king b7, and that's it. Yes.
Right.
King goes from b7. That's
Right. So okay, so let's do another one. There's another one up.
It's definitely Burkin study. Yes, I guess you see that. But that's okay. Okay, now so what we should do? We should start. We should start. Harassing black bishop. So this is the. So what we do? We start with I think rook a2. Yes, that's the.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that's bishop g1. So now we want to attack bishop again. Rook g2.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, rook g2. I think he should be king f3. Rook takes g1, king f2, rook e1, and he should go e4. Now we should find a way. Okay, so the we needed our knight e4 king. Okay, knight e6. Yeah, knight e6, e3, knight is either. Yeah, knight c5. Knight c5, yes. Knight c5, I need to take control e4 square now. e2 check, king d2. Now e4 is control. Knight f1, king c1, king e1, knight d3 mate.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
No, because with knight on, you couldn't go on f4 because knight e4. You had to control e4 square.
Right. No, that was pretty good. It was very good.
That's the old Soviet school. Yeah.
So have you seen those before then? Like had you seen it before?
No, the first one no, but the second one is long time ago. Look, I 40 years ago I've been very aggressive in this one. That one is easy. That one is the. It's fortress. Knight c6, d3, knight takes a7, d2, knight d5, d1, knight c3, and then king h1, and knight goes on e4, and king black king is trapped. No, those are just.
Of course, that was super easy. Okay, all right, let's go with another one.
Oh, that's famous. That's very easy. Bishop h6. That's the king g7 and then g8 and then mate. That's king e6, king f7, bishop g7 mate. No, those I just solved when I was 10 probably. still have the little bit just kind of old images in my.
Okay, let's pull up another one then. Okay, so even though these were 40 years ago, you still remember them though.
Some remember, some I just this is not you remember all of them. It's just it's basically trying to it's like about images. So it's the.
Okay, let's see.
So
this is what white to win, yeah.
That's okay. Yeah, definitely we cannot go queen c8 queen because rook a7 mate. So that's bad news. So we can go. No, yes, it's the rook a7 mate. So if we go c8 knight, that doesn't make sense.
Yeah, just
so
king
we just
c7.
have to find a move. Yeah, we just have to find a move. So with our so okay, so we go knight a6 probably. That's the only move. So that's all. Rook at king b8. That's all. Also king c8. I have to go knight c8 if I want to win. Rook a7. Okay, now we have to. So
Well, so it's one or two moves basically, right?
yeah,
King
one
d8 or
of two
d7.
moves. Yes, I'm trying to understand. So what's the trick? So if I okay, the trick is that if you go king d8, rook a6, c8, rook a8, and that's the. Now I have to understand. So what's the rook a8? Okay, so king d7, the only move.
Okay.
Yeah, and now king d now king d8.
King d8.
Yeah, yeah, and c8. No, that's easy win. No, the trick
C8.
was, the
Oh wait,
trick was
sorry.
that, you know,
Wait
if
one
you go
second. What
king
was? Wait one second. Let me reload this. Sorry. What was it though? You're saying wait, is it queen or not?
No. This is the trick was that if instead of king d7, move 5. Move 5. You go king d8, which is then rook takes a6. If you go king d8, rook takes a6, c8.
Yeah, and then queen 8, rook a8. Yeah.
C and then rook a8, and that's
Yeah,
queen
stalemate.
takes 8. It's a stalemate. So that's why you just have to go king d7.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. King d7 takes.
So
but
yeah,
is it
and
queen
then-
or is it rook here? I wasn't sure.
No. This is here. No, queen is the same. If
So
you
yeah,
go
you
queen
have
is
to make
the
a
same,
rook. Yeah.
Exactly. Yes. You should.
Then, yeah, and then you just check and trade.
Trade.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yes, queen is the same story. Yes.
Right.
Yeah. So that's a couple of. Oh, this is what another.
I mean, I think the first move has to be bishop h3. I think, because
Yeah, but then e6, bishop
Right.
e6, rook d7, and I'm trying to see
Yeah.
what's the. I just. So okay, the other option is d takes e7, but he goes simply rook e8 and then just and then I don't see what we can do. So bishop h3, king c7, b6, king d6. No, so we probably have to start with bishop h3. So there's no there's nothing else. We can e6. Now so it's d5 does more. So we have to take on e6. I don't see what else we can do. Rook d7. Now we definitely have to think. So if we go d5, king d8.
no, but also d5 black can just sack. I think if d5 just bishop d5 probably.
Bishop d5.
Yeah.
Yes, that's
yeah.
Yeah, but it's also king d. I'm sure it's
True.
No, but sacrificing after d5, bishop d5 is again. I think we should save the game. So that's why.
Well, that's true. Actually, yeah. If you don't go d5, you're probably just losing because black will always control the d5 square.
Yeah, but it's bishop d5. This is the rook d6, bishop b7. That's probably the draw. Yes.
Is it though, king? Because where does the king go? King c7. You can go
C7,
bishop c6.
Bishop. No,
No, then
I
rook
don't
d4.
want.
No. Yeah.
Bishop before rook e6. Yes, maybe still.
But maybe no. That's no good. Just
Five. No, that's the. My concern is what we'll do after d. I don't see any other move but d5. By the way, because I see this. What's b6, king.
right. Yeah. No. I think it has to be d5. Every other move just loses.
Yeah, it's my only. Yeah, it's the. Yeah, probably d5. Yes, I think other moves are losing. Yeah.
Right.
Bishop. So that's curious. Yes. Okay. Now we take on d5.
Take on d5.
Yes. b6 check. b6 check. Ooh. Okay. Bishop b7 check. Bishop b7 check. Rook b7, king a8. King 7.
Very nice. Very nice.
Yeah. Okay. Fine.
That's really good. All right. Let me
We'll
pull up
manage.
like one
We'll
more.
manage. We'll manage.
So the Maxime then all these ones are Maxime.
Yes.
Maxime.
Maxime. Yes. That's. It was the. Yeah. That's very famous.
I actually haven't seen this one, so it's.
I don't. I think I just. This is the. So let's get that will end up with the smoother mate, and that's the. I think the first move is. It's the. I remember the end of the study, but it's just but that's pretty long.
I think it's Queen G5 maybe.
No, it's the yeah. It's queen should move. So, but then bishop takes d7, and then so we need to move with checks, and it's knight of4 king d6, so that he still has the
Yeah, the king gets out there. Yeah.
King gets out, but I think it's just the king will end up on a8. I remember that. So, but now we just have to make sure that we know how to manage it. So the king. Okay, I think it's queen g5. That gave this king. I'll go on g1. Yes, that's king this. Okay, and now we just we definitely. Knight c5 check. Knight c5. That's it. Knight c5 check. That's it. Bishop g4 check. Oh no. Oh sorry.
Right. Yeah. It's okay.
No. Bishop a6. I'm sorry. Bishop a6. Of course. Bishop a6. Of course. Yes. Queen g3 check. Bishop b7 check. Knight d7. Knight d7.
Yes,
and then queen d8 check.
Yes.
Knight b6 check. Yes, that's
nice.
Yeah. So that's yes. Oh, that's the. Oh, yeah. I remember this. Oh, this is one. Oh, that's something new. Seletsky against Seletsky. Oh, that's his old. Like the first move here. Just I'll be surprised if it's not b6. It's just instinctively it should be b6.
Well, black can just take with the knight though.
Yeah, the king b5.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I thought you maybe were trying to mate somehow, but you're right. You're right. It's somehow you make a draw. You're right. Yeah.
I'm trying to escape. So that's the.
Right.
Yeah, I think that's the. Yeah. It's the only difference is that if I do. No, knight. No. The knight d3 check doesn't make much sense to me now, because we'll rather do b6 and then see what are the options. The question is this still. Because we have to find a way to. But in any case, we will be forced to play b6, so that's why why to wait?
Okay,
we have to force to play b6 eventually. Yes. No, that's bad.
Okay, so then it must be another order with b6, right?
Exactly, but we have to start with one of the checks, because knight b6 mate is this. It's this red. So. I'm curious, what's the difference if I go knight?
Actually, I have an idea. Maybe it's something with knight e4, because I'm thinking of some b6, knight d6, maybe.
Okay, knight d6 it's not a mate, because then king can go on a5. So that's why this. So that's why we can actually move our knight.
Right.
We can move our knight. So and now where can we move the knight? So this is if we move the knight on.
Yeah, kind of curious. I mean, I think if it's not b6, though, it has to be one of the knight moves, but I think it has to be knight e4 for some reason. Because if you go to d3, king a2, I don't see a reason. I don't see any moves that make sense there.
Let's see how can we harass this black bishop. Fine, knight d4. I solved it. Now,
which move?
Knight d4, b6 now, b6. Now b6. Knight e4. Knight d6. And it takes stalemate other.
Okay. Which way do you go?
Knight a4. On a4.
A4? A4? Okay.
King a4. A4, yes. And then we just
take the knight, right? Yeah.
Yeah, and otherwise, that's fine. So it's a little bit of, yeah.
So what, king a5, right?
Oh, that's still the game continues. That's the we should escape.
Should be knight a7, I think. Right? I think it's here. Yeah.
King, not this.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's a very good puzzle. Very hard, but it's a good puzzle. But you got it right. You got it right. That was nice. Yeah, I really would like to give a big shout out once again to Garry Kasparov. We were streaming it on his Twitch channel as well. There's a Twitch channel, I believe it's twitch.tv/Kasparovchess.